From the windows of Copenhagen Airport, the crew of JAT Yugoslav Airlines Flight 367 watches the arrival of the aircraft they are about to board. Among them is a young flight attendant, Vesna Vulović. She notices a passenger deplaning. He looks particularly irritated. Little does she know that this stranger will soon change her life forever and leave her with an unbelievable Guinness World Record that still stands today. JAT Flight 367 was a scheduled flight from Stockholm, Sweden to Zagreb, Croatia, with stopovers in Copenhagen, Denmark, and Belgrade, Serbia. JAT Yugoslav Airlines was the national carrier of Yugoslavia, a nation that, from 1945 to 1992, comprised today's Croatia, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Macedonia, Montenegro, Serbia, and Slovenia. The aircraft for this journey was a McDonnell Douglas DC-932, registered YUAHT, delivered to JAT 2 years prior. On board were 6 crew members, 2 pilots, 3 flight attendants, and an aircraft mechanic. For the Copenhagen to Belgrade leg, there were 22 passengers on board. The DC-9 took off at 3:15 p.m., climbing to a cruising altitude of 33,000 feet. Everything seemed normal. But a few minutes past 4 p.m., while flying over Hermsdorf, Germany, disaster struck. A violent explosion ripped through the plane, tearing apart the fuselage near the cockpit. The aircraft, now in pieces, plummeted toward the ground near the forest of Srbska Kamenice in what is now the Czech Republic. Residents in the area heard a thunderous blast, and looking up, they saw debris falling from the sky. Among them was Bruno Honke, a local villager and former World War II medic. Rushing through the thick snow and dense vegetation, he reached the crash site. The scene was eerie. Wreckage strewn across the forest, an enormous section of the aircraft crumpled upon impact. Silence filled the air until a scream broke through. Someone was alive. Bruno discovered a severely injured young woman, Vesna Vulović. Trapped in the wreckage, she cried for help. Thanks to his medical training, Bruno administered vital first aid until rescuers arrived. Vesna was quickly transported to a hospital, slipping into a coma for 27 days. Her injuries were catastrophic: a fractured skull, broken legs, crushed vertebrae, a shattered pelvis, and multiple broken ribs. Doctors feared the worst. Amazingly, she survived. After 10 months of recovery, Vesna was able to walk again, though with a permanent limp due to spinal damage. She was the only survivor of JAT Flight 367. The official investigation, conducted by the Czechoslovak Federal Ministry of Transport, concluded that an explosive device was responsible for the crash. The black boxes confirmed there were no technical issues with the aircraft prior to the explosion. Investigators found traces of an explosive device concealed in a suitcase, hidden inside a black trunk placed in the forward cargo hold. The bomb was likely triggered by an alarm clock. Analysis of the wreckage painted a grim picture. The explosion compromised the aircraft structure, causing the cockpit to detach instantly. Passengers, still conscious, were ejected from the ruptured fuselage mid-air. The pilots, found strapped into their seats, had their hands still gripping the controls, suggesting they fought until the very last moment to save their plane and its occupants. Yugoslav authorities suspected the attack was carried out by Croatian nationalist extremists. A man, claiming to be a Croatian nationalist, later took responsibility for the bombing through a Swedish newspaper. However, no arrests were ever made. But how did Vesna Vulović survive? According to Vesna, a catering trolley had pinned her against the fuselage, preventing her from being sucked out. The section of the plane she was in crashed into a heavily wooded, snow-covered area, potentially softening the impact. Additionally, some doctors theorized that her low blood pressure helped her avoid fatal shock. Her survival even became the subject of a Mythbusters episode, which confirmed that survival under such conditions, while highly improbable, was indeed possible. Despite her harrowing ordeal, Vesna was eager to return to flying. However, JAT reassigned her to a desk job to avoid media attention. In 1985, the Guinness Book of World Records recognized her as the world record holder for surviving the highest fall without a parachute, 30,330 feet. She was presented the award by Paul McCartney. After 44 years since the crash, Vesna passed away at the age of 66 in her home in Belgrade, Serbia. To this day, she holds the Guinness World Record for the highest fall survived without a parachute, an extraordinary testament to the resilience of the human spirit. Thanks for watching. If you found this video interesting, make sure to like and subscribe for more content on major disasters throughout history.